Life can be so challenging. Where can you go to get divine clarification, help, and advice? Well, may I introduce Natasha Venter, medium coach and direct connection to your guides and angels. Through her podcast, Life Clarifications, Natasha will help you navigate through and create your life's destiny. My name is Kevin McDonald, co-host of this podcast, and I've seen her work and know that through her incredible talent, you can be changed forever. So let's start another episode of Life Clarifications with Natasha. Okay. I want to be changed forever. So go ahead, start. I'll wait.
Well, welcome everyone, and I'm grateful you could be here. And as my earpiece doesn't want to stay in my ear today, happy St. Patty's Day. And yes, I'm wearing green, but my husband didn't acknowledge this. But I'm wearing, the green pendant and paranite and that kind of thing. So I am wearing green. It's just I do Louise Hayes's numerology. So there's certain colors, certain numbers of the day that I wear certain colors. And today's my purple day. And it's one of my favorite colors. So I could not wear purple, but I put in some green along the way.
And ladies and gentlemen, I do have to apologize on behalf of Natasha because she started drinking some Jameson Irish whiskey at about 10 o'clock this morning. And it's just continued all the way through. Yeah. And so, let's see, she's laughing now, but wait a couple hours, she'll be hung the hell over.
No, I won't be because I don't drink. I drink water, and no, it's not vodka.
And you inhale that drink.
No, but like people say to me, it's like, Natasha, you can act like you're drunk any day because it's just one of those moments where I get to get the fairy in me comes out, or people around me are a little tipsy, and of course I'm very much, I can pick up on other people's stuff. And so sometimes when I'm the designated driver because I never drink, it's like my I can tell that the ethers around me are starting to get me a little tipsy, and I'm like, wait a minute, block that energy, block that knowing.
Gee whiz, I had no idea you were this handy to have around. You can be the designated driver. That way,
constantly.
we can all have a good time and not have to worry about it because
exactly. And actually, I am a good time because many a times, like when we used to go dancing, and I'd be the designated driver, that I would be the one that they had to pull off the dance floor.
Yeah, I need a designated dancer is what I need. Somebody to do that for me, because that's just not a good idea. That's just not a good sight.
I dance around the house by myself half the time. So it's one of my exercises, actually. I love to dance. So it's like if I'm down, that's one of the things I like to do is I put on some music and try to just get myself moving. So it's a good thing.
Well, very good. So what do you want to talk about today? I think that you put into your newsletter something about failure.
Mm-hmm. I did, and I did not exaggerate on this too much because of the fact that, it's like I like my newsletters to be shorter because of the fact that who has time to read nowadays, especially emails, and so if I can just get the point to where somebody can start thinking about it, anticipating it, or integrating some other idea, perception. That's my goal with my newsletters, and just to kind of give a heads up on what's happening, hey, I'll be here, or hey, I'll be there. So it's just one of those things that I just do those different things. So, but failure is something that I know that a lot of us struggle with. Self-perceived failure. Because I know that the universe, the angels, the guides, our loved ones once they pass, not when they're on this side, not when they're in body form, but when they're in spirit form, that when they're in spirit form and they have the knowing of the greater picture because they've been on the other side. Because I know that a lot of people struggle with my mom and dad or my uncle or my sister or my brother or someone had this perception when they were in human form. Why don't they do it over there? Well, it's because they have the bigger picture. And so many of them go, "Oh God, I did that to my family, didn't I?" But then they go, "I didn't know better to do better. So now I know better because I'm in spirit form and I can do what I need to do and I can help them move through what I taught them." And so with that many of us are taught that failure is not acceptable because of the fact that failure is something um that why should we fail? We're human. We should know what to do. And it's like, wait a minute, failure. You know, I know a lot of people struggled with failure during this COVID situation because they lost their jobs and then they thought they failed their families. Well, how could they fail if it wasn't even in their control to stay in that job? You know, even if they could have picked another job, but how are they supposed to know? They were doing something to give money that was okay before that situation. You know what I mean? Okay-ish. I'm not going to say it was maybe perfect, but it's like, why should we do these self-perceived examples of failure when they're just speed bumps in the road of life? And like I said in my newsletter, it's time for those re's. Should I it's reevaluate, relook at it, re-examine, reapply. It's like those re's. You know, Sometimes when we have what ending, which is what a failure could be, that those endings, many times that if we do the ending with grace and say, oh, wait a minute. Okay, I just lost a job. Does that mean I'm supposed to go back into the same job? Or is this an opportunity to jump off into something else I know? It's that reevaluate time or re-examine, like someone who has started a job. And kind of like me with my intuitive business, there's many times where I had to reevaluate, what is my intention in this job? What is my intention with moving forward? What was my intention with, oh, wait a minute, that first website didn't work as well as I wanted it to. Well, I have to reevaluate to see how I can apply my next website and how I can interact with it differently. And so with that there's these dances that we can do with what when something comes to an ending, because really no one fails. No one fails.
Well, it's hard to imagine, but we all do it, is that when we try something new, when we take a new job, when we try something in sports, when we do something like your husband, if he's playing golf and he decides he's going to alter his swing, that may not be successful to do that. That was his
Mhm.
attempt, but it may not be successful. So we're kind of hard on ourselves when it comes to failure, because we all do it. It's the only
Mhm.
way to learn. You don't learn from success.
I know we learn from endings for new beginnings. We learn from lessons and experiences. We learn, but it's attaching that more negative aspect onto it that I really want to help people say, there's really no failures out there. Oh, wait a minute. It didn't go the way I wanted it to. Oh, yeah, I could have done it differently. Yeah, but how would have known that we could have done it differently if it didn't work well the first time?
You can't.
It's like, yeah, and like I said in my newsletter, it's like, how can we be a failure if we've done it for the first time and we didn't know how to do it? Many times I'm doing it for the first time going, oh, it's kinda like packing a box. Sometimes we have to repack a box 4 times to make everything fit. But the first time was to see what needed to go in. The second time was, how does it fit together? The third time is the application of trying to get it all in. Oh, but wait a minute, if I put in that bottom box, over to the side instead, or in the middle instead of to the corner, maybe I can fit in the other pieces in that corner. It's that application, but there was no failure. It was just a learning, adding on, doing what we're doing to do what we can do. Um, and it's kind of like if somebody's building a building and it falls down, well, yeah, they could have done something different. Yeah, they maybe could have had a little bit more integrity when they were building it. Yeah, maybe they could have said, I didn't know better to do better. But really, that's not a failure. That is something that is an application towards, oh, I really had to learn something here. I really had to learn something. Like the person who bought that building maybe had to learn how to really check to make sure that things were done with integrity, you know, or, you know, or, checking into the way things were made, like who was the builder? What is their knowledge? Um what is their pattern? Is there anybody who is doing things that's saying they're not good builders? Well, if somebody's saying that they're not good builders, then I know better than to buy that building. It's just one of those things that as we work in life that, it is, how did this teach me more than is it a failure?
In your work, do you have a lot of people that lament their failures and let it seep into every aspect of their lives?
Oh, shame is attached to many perceived failures. Let's say that someone made a decision, and I know that a lot of people have drug problems in their life, or have had, somewhere where alcoholism or drugs or something kind of slipped into their life, and maybe there was a situation that came in to their, where, let's say a job application came in, or a family member moved out of the area, or there's something that happened where they weren't their best during that time, and that failure feeling of, I should have done different, I should have been there and did different, adds shame in. And shame is not, we're not supposed to have shame. We were only doing what we should do in that moment that we were doing it. And what's to say that you weren't that person wasn't supposed to go down that line of, my family with alcoholism, with, that, what's to say that my children, that wasn't part of their life lesson, was to deal with a family member who had alcoholism, you know there's many times where, well, I wish it would have done different, but I can't say I was a failure to my kids. I did my better that I could. I didn't do it perfectly, but and there's times I really wish, why didn't this happen earlier? But I wasn't a failure to anybody. But that's that part of the process of self-talk, and we're not taught to do better, many of us. Even many religions talk about that we're sinners if we make the wrong decision, or, and there's many words to failure. you know the sinner, the shame, the guilt, whatever it's called. It's in that bag of what would can be considered the application of failure.
What is sin?
A self-perceived idea that someone says that you should have done different.
That's one of the better explanations or definitions that I've ever heard. Because I asked a lot of people, it's like, what do you mean? What is sin? Sin is everything. It's original sin. It's the other sin. It's everything about you. You're a sinner, boy. But I think that leads you down a bad way, doesn't it?
It does, because sin is basically somebody else's idea of what you should have done different.
Even Jimmy Carter had sin in his heart. And so it's like you can't. I was thinking about that one time. It's like when you talk about the ultimate failure, I guess that would be sin. When you talk about that, it's like Okay, everything that I do is sin. Everything that I am is wrong. So I have to go. So then I that's where
Exactly, exactly.
I get
Where
lost.
do you go from there? It's like, what?
You can't win.
You can't win, and it's wrong to put that application on. I grew up in the Catholic Church where I wasn't necessarily Catholic, but I was in the Seattle busing situation, and so either I went to the Catholic school that was down the block, or I was bused an hour and a half. So, and my grandmother was Catholic, and my father was brought up Catholic, nor was he Catholic anymore. Um, but at the same time, though, people kept telling me I'm a sinner, and I'm like, how can I be a sinner? I'm shy. I don't have friends. Maybe I snidge a little bit to sneak into the sugar bowl. It's like, uh, how can I be a sinner on Sunday when on I was the one being bullied? How can I be the sinner? Now, I'm not saying that I was perfect by any means. I mean, I could have done a little different, but being the kid that I was, I can't say that I did the seven deadly sin, the seven, the 10 commandments, It's like, how can I was trying to be the kind one when somebody was bullying me. Where's that picture? And so with that as we're walking and as we're talking, that self-perceived what other people think about being failure.
I know. And Susan apparently has got the same issues. She said, when I was little and brought to church, the concept of sin never resonated with me, which it is. See, it's one of those things. It's like a catch-all. It's one of those catch-all phrases that we need to get you to do what we want you to do, and sin is everywhere and it's everything, and nobody can avoid it, and so you can't claim to be perfect because you're sinful. Damn it! And so that's how they get you to do what they want you to do.
Exactly. And that's not I'm going to move a little bit here cuz I can tell the sun's coming around the corner, and it's going to be blinding on me. My wonderful sun I'm grateful for, but it's going to be a little blinding, so I have to move a couple things here so I can move my computer. That as we are walking, and I agree with her that she says that it was manipulation, being manipulated. But that's what uh, I'm going to use discernment here. Um, that, and I mean this with all love, that a lot of people, a lot of the humans applied the application of religion, and they wrote certain rules in the religion to be able to help us humans stay in boxes.
Of course, that's because if they have you in a box, and as an example, the guy I just was thinking about the there. This isn't a joke, but there are two priests standing there, and one says to the other, my attendance on Sunday is down. I don't know why it's down, but it's just down. And the guy said, well, it's summertime, it's sunny, and people are wanting to go. And he said, well, no, but you see, that means that my coffers are down. I'm not making as much money because there aren't as many people in church because they're off doing something else. Wait, I know. Let's make that a sin for you to not go to church on Sunday, and you're gonna have. Oh, and I know, if you miss church on Sunday, we'll sell you a candle so you can light the candle, and then that can clear your sin away. And so we'll sell the candle, and we'll make people come to church, and then our coffers will be full, and you and I will be happy.
Exactly. And that's the thing is that as we're walking in life and as we're doing things, we really need to look at the universe actually, and I have an understanding that talking with Mother Mary like I do, and talking to Jesus like I do, and talking with a lot of the angels that I do, that statement of maybe of rest means that a lot of us don't take care of ourselves. That a lot of us don't apply self-care. And so there's those moments where the universe around us, our helpers, Jesus, Mother Mary, the angels, our personal guides, even our family members who have passed, they say, please take a moment for you. Take a moment for you. And so Sue was saying, what was that? Can you read it, Kevin?
I think the intent was to help us elevate our behavior, but it lacks addressing the underlying reasons for poor behavior.
Mm-hmm.
Let that resonate with you for just a moment. Because the other thing is, and that may be true, and they're going to try and guilt you into good behavior. I don't think guilting anyone accomplishes the intended goal, personally.
No, and I can tell you that, going back to some of my past lives, that there was several people in communities that had the ego and the righteousness that they needed to be top dog. And so what is the best way to keep someone keeping themselves top dog was to belittle and to keep everyone else in under them, which was rules. And what was the easiest way to manage someone? It was their belief system, because everyone had a belief system. And at the same time, when a lot of these rules, and I'm going to go back to this, a lot of these religious rules were set up were back when people were not, they were in a switch. Religions kept changing around them. The Egyptians, they're different. If a different pharaoh would come in, and sorry if the word's not correct, would bring in different gods, and so there'd be these different scenarios that would come in. And even countries would take over other countries and say you can't believe in that anymore, and so they would be searching for something to believe in, and the quickest way to get somebody was their belief system. And so with that maybe there was several priests and ministers and people of spoken to be better would think of it as to elevate a behavior, when I know that a lot of those governments and stuff like that perceived things to be, it was that squishing, it was the squashing. And
I think it's even more simple than that. Have you ever been to Vegas?
mhm,
Pretty place, isn't it?
it is.
Gorgeous buildings. You know where those businesses got that money?
Mhm,
From gamblers.
mhm.
Now go to. Have you ever been to the Vatican?
No.
If you ever get to go to the Vatican, that is as pretty as any casino, as the Strip in Vegas, and where did they get that money? I think that I hate to sound so damn cynical, but I'm going to play that for you, so that you can talk me down from my tree. But
Good cop, bad cop here.
and it's like I think everything's got to do with money.
Yeah. Oh,
Um,
it's been, even when we used to trade, it used to be, if the cow was the best equivalent to money, then the top farmer would have the most cows because he wanted to be the better. We've had that in us, and it's just amazing how society's been put up that we don't question anymore sometimes where things came from.
No, we don't.
And yes, money is about control, and it doesn't even have to be about, like we're getting the Bitcoin and the different coins coming in. And, it's just where those moments of, that's why we're in this moment right now, though. It's about coming into our own truth, and going back to failures and sins and whatever this language is that we're talking about, because it's not about religion, really. It's about the base statements that we're making, you know, failure, sin, guilt, shame. So many of us humans are feeling this because of what we've been taught. It's been what we've heard, what TV has shown us, what society has shown us, what magazines has shown us. Many of us feel guilty because we're 20 pounds overweight instead of and we feel shame for our bodies because we're not the painted in and all those models that are in the magazines, who actually starve themselves many a times because they're too fat at size 2. It's like, but who says size 2 is supposed to be what we are? You know, it- and that's the thing about, and many of us put failure. I'm not that person. I'm going to go into, doing another diet. I'm going to. And yet at the same time, though, really think about how what we've been taught. How many of us had women had fathers or mothers who said, should you eat that? You know, that you're gonna gain weight if you eat that, or that size, you shouldn't be in that size. Well, who made my body? Their DNA.
What did you have you ever asked your husband, do I look fat in these pants? And now he would be a very wise man if he gave you the answer of, oh, honey, no, not at all. You look great.
Well, actually, I have asked, but not in that terminology. I say, does this whole look okay?
Ah,
Does this flow? I'm one that when it's kind of like, you said one time that you think that I have a perfectionist house, and I go, no, it's what feels right. Sometimes if I don't feel right, like in the morning, and I know that I'll be okay in 2 hours, but I'm not really in my body yet, and then I have to get dressed and present myself, and he's around. I say, does this feel right?
mm-hmm.
And uh and you know and it's not necessarily does my butt look big, it's more about how does this application overall look,
Right,
you know
which is actually the politically correct way to do it. That way you can save him from a lot of grief,
yes.
which is really good. Speaking about, and I just saw this, read this the other day. You're familiar with Friends, right?
Yes.
The TV show. You had Jennifer Aniston, and you had Courtney Cox, and you had Lisa Kudrow. And
Mm-hmm.
Lisa Kudrow, after the show was over, said she always felt fat and ugly because of these two women that were size 1 and size 2, right around in there, that she was being compared to. She's a
Mm-hmm.
gorgeous lady, and she's height, weight, proportionate. There's no issues, but because of society, they created that issue for her that she was not as good as the others because she wasn't a size 1. I think that's
Mm-hmm.
crazy that we do that to our kids.
Oh, I know. It's just, it's amazing, and we may know this about ourselves, but at the same time, though, it's those whispers that are in the back of the mind that sneak in all the time. And it's just one of those things that when we're navigating with life and when we're doing life, that can you take down the post piece? That when we're doing things and we're managing things, that it is about the process of how can I make this moment do better for me? You know, how can me losing my job, instead of feeling the failure because I didn't do the job right, well, maybe the universe was saying it's time to move on. Or sometimes when someone is their marriage is ending. Well, I know many times taking a snapshot of that life that, yeah, we could have done something better. We could have done something different. We could have shifted how we did things. Maybe it's time to reevaluate. Yet at the same time, though, sometimes we're not meant to be with that person for the rest of our lives. And, it's really looking at what was the reason why I was with this person. Sometimes, to be honest with you, if we have kids, sometimes it's bring them into this world because they were meant to do something.
Hmm.
Their soul was meant to do something. And even if at one moment that soul was meant to help another soul stay on this planet, then they did their work, but yet each time they put a smile on someone's face. There's more and more things they could have done, but many times we think that because something is ending, it was a failure, or we should feel shame or guilt or application, and we should have done better. We could have done better. Now, like if the marriage ends because of an affair or something, well, that's not necessarily a failure. That's because somebody made a poor choice and they could have done different. And yet maybe they had mental and emotional things that they needed to work on. And as we do those applications, that sometimes life makes us come out with a problem so that we can work on that problem.
Of course, that's part of the growth. By the way, Susan says, "I love how your newsletter addresses all the re's, looking at things from a different perspective. That's just one way you've helped me with your reading." So, by the way, if you want to get on her email list, so that you can get a newsletter yourself, how do they do that?
They can email me at natasha@angelicclarifications.com. Or you can go on my newsletter or my my website, and I think there is a place where you can sign up for my newsletter there. So natasha@angelicclarifications.com. And I make a disclosure. I don't send out emails but maybe once, maybe twice a month. So I am one of those that is a less bug than a more bug. But at the same time, though, when I do send it out, I really have the intention of making a making a point of a perception. And when we do that, or when I do that, it is about what's going on. Like there's one I had a moment where Archangel Michael kind of sabotaged me and he channeled that he wrote the newsletter. It was like, what are we applying in our lives? And many times it just kind of hits me like my statements here. I just get the tap to talk about this and it comes one morning and I speak into my phone luckily, and then I apply it to refixing it. And then I send it to Sue to 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 make sure that I've done my quotes right, and sometimes my dyslexia makes me flip sentences around, and she can interpret how they should be much better as I was writing them.
Well, but that's okay too, because that's the imperfect filter that we all have. Now, I wanted to ask you a question. We've delved into this quite a little bit in some other podcasts in the last week or two, and I wanted to get your thoughts on it. And that is, how does intuition play a role in your overall life and in your writings and what you do?
Hmm. My intuition. I have an understanding. I want to clarify what intuition is because many people think that intuition is being psychic. Well, being a medium and being this kind of intuition and psychic is a little bit deeper in a different form of application. But every intuitive, every psychic, every medium has intuition that is the base, the foundation. It's the cement foundation of the house of being psychic, being a medium, doing that. So my intuition, listening to the universe, being available to listen and hear. Should I eat this food? The song comes in, like you had a songwriter on the other day and singer, and she writes her own songs, but she uses her intuition. She hears her muses, excuse me, she hears her muses, and she applies what they're showing her, and that's her intuition. It's hearing a insight, feeling an insight, seeing an insight, uh, tasting or smelling an insight, or just that gut anticipation of an insight that we all we can apply to our lives. And that intuition, I would say, is 98% of my life.
Well, and so basically the newsletter then would be an intuitive piece that you're getting from somewhere else. And that's the Fia was the same way. Eric is the same way. Julie was the same way. They're all, everyone that is working to better themselves listens to their intuition, listens to
Mhm.
their guides from the other side. And if you are
Listen to
intuitive,
self.
listen to yourself. All of those things matter a great deal. Intuition is huge when you're, even if it's just, I'm not going to turn left because you told me not to turn left. I will go straight, and it might save you a couple hours or an accident or whatever it is.
Mhm. Exactly. There's many a times where I even use intuition when I'm gonna be, organizing my house for the day. It's like I hear, go into, that closet. I'll be in there for about 10, 15 minutes working on a shelf and la da da. And then I hear, oh, go sit down and eat. It's like that intuition, that listening in on something that helps you do better. Intuition will never have a negative aspect to it. That is self-thought, or if somebody has an entity that is not good for them hanging on around them. It's you know, intuition, your guides, your angels will never, ever be negative to you. They
No.
may say, "Please don't do that. That might not be good for you." But they will never do it in a shameful, hatred, you failed way.
No, but they will say, okay, well, did you learn anything?
Exactly.
That's kind of, by the way, if you were in your closet for 10 minutes cleaning a shelf, you do run a tight ship at home. I just wanted to throw that out there.
Well, because of the fact that I can't put something away if I don't have a place to put it away.
Ah,
And
see?
so that's why I clean. It's more logic than it is anything else. And I would say if you walk through my house, you will know I lived in it. Because where I sit by my couch, there is a couple things around there. On the counter, the mail from 3 days ago is still there. It's like there's not I mean, I still have my clothes that I folded and I haven't put them away yet. So I don't run that tight of
Shocking.
a ship. But
Shocking. That's just shocking.
but
What?
I try to but I know those clothes shouldn't be there for too long, because in my feng shui belief system, that if I have something messy, and I am working on so much in my life to move forward, that if I have something that is blocking that energy, then it's not allowing the chi to flow, that energy, the spirit to flow, and the inspiration will slow down. My flow will slow down. And so that's why when I go into a closet and it's feeling gucky, it's feeling heavy, it's feeling disorganized, it's feeling clustered, that it's like if I can just put like things with like things, then it has more of a flow to it, which gives me the opportunity. It's kind of like when my plastic bags were overflowing. Well, what was overflowing in my life? What was being out of control in my life that I had to at least try to put some application of working with in my life, because I can't control anything, but I can work with it. I can interact with it. And so me organizing how my bags went gave me the application of, okay, this compartment is for home, this compartment's for work, this compartment's for my family. It's like trying to give time for everything. So it's amazing the metaphors of life that I I use metaphors so much in my life. It's like I wear them out.
Well, I'm sure because if you're wearing out your closet too because you're in there way too much.
No, no, that's like me once 3 months thing that I
Uh,
do. It's
let's see. The last place I lived there for 5 years, and I still had stuff that I didn't unpack yet until I moved, and that's sitting over here in a box, and I still haven't unpacked it. That would drive you crazy.
Actually, it probably would in a way because of the fact that, uh, curiosity I'm a cat. Curiosity would get me. And yes, I have boxes like that up in my garage, but there's sometimes where I go through and I have to decide because of the fact that if I want new to come in my life, I have to have old go out. And so there's times where I'm looking around going, and if you notice, I like stuff. I have stuff, so there's stuff that can leave, and so if something wants to come in, something else has to go. Kind of like my girlfriend um, gave me the angel wings that's in my window.
Oh, very nice.
And when she brought those in, I was so grateful. I love them. They are so inspirational to me. But what was old that was used to be inspirational that's not inspirational anymore that needed to leave? And so with that as I've walked and know that things just have to keep moving to keep things moving.
Yes, they do. I guess. I I haven't thought. I'm a guy. I haven't thought about it that deeply. I leave that stuff to you guys.
Well, I can be reading a book and thinking about 3 other things at the same time, so
Well, I can too, but cleaning my closet isn't one of them, or two of them, or
well, though, if I wasn't doing this, I would be helping people feng shui and organize their house. So
ah.
that to me is part of my application of my calling. It's like I would be working in an office. I would be I would be working in someone's house. I necessarily wouldn't be working with like the really hoarders on like on TV, but I could work with many different realms of helping someone find a purpose in their home, how to organize. I love I love packing boxes, unpacking boxes. I love that part of that process. Like
Well,
when my kid was moving, I say, "Fia, do you mind if we go through your boxes so that we can pack them up and be ready to go? Because I know it's gonna get crazy at the end of the month. And so right now is a good time. Can we do your boxes, please?"
you see, you say you do have some neuroses yourself. You have a box fetish.
I
You,
am more than you know. More than you I was a box kid, so I do have a box fetish more than you know.
let's see how we put this in here, and it goes in there. I tell you, it's. But that's
There's been a couple boxes I did not recycle because they were just too good of a box.
but so what's great about that is that you can laugh at yourself,
I
and
can.
that's the important part, being able to laugh at yourself and understand that you may not be perfect, but you're doing a fine job just as you are, and you're good.
I'm keeping upright, because I would almost rather reorganize a closet than do my dishes.
I
Or
can't.
cook dinner, or that kind of thing. So, we all have our pluses, we all have our minuses, we all have our things that flow better with us and then don't flow with us. And but yet we can't take those things that don't flow with us and call them failures. They're just not part of our game. That's why, like for me, my husband is really good at being getting up in the morning. I'm not. So when we have to go somewhere, I have to go somewhere, I make sure I tell him in the morning because he makes sure that he wakes me up and gets me moving or talks with me to get my brain waking up because I am not one that's well getting up in the morning, and I'm doing better. Life is making me do better, but yet at the same time though, it's that application that if someone's doing something better, have them help us, help their tools help me work with my tools. Just like my husband was saying, that, isn't there somebody's birthday coming around? And I went, oh yeah, there is. Should we get a card out? And so he would go and get a card out and I would write it for him because he doesn't like writing in the cards. And then he would take it to the mail post, you know, on the way to work, because that's how we would work together. Otherwise, I don't get things out on time that way. And so there's that application of it's not a failure, it's just not my strength.
I wanted to ask you, when you say failure, I guess you got to describe what is failure. What is considered a failure versus not doing as well as you could, or I mean, what is a failure?
From my application of being a witness to many, and not judging, just a witness, that failure is something that they thought that they should have done either in a way or perfectly. So let's say if somebody wanted to um, hang a picture, and their perception that they should have had it totally perfect and in the middle of the room, and in that spot that was perfect, perfectly height up, perfect. But if they didn't do that, they failed at it.
But how
Mm.
can you that see now that creates an unrealistic expectation.
Exactly. And but that's what us in society, many of us have done. And there's been some of us like you and like me that we've practiced our way out of feeling that way. But yet at the same time, though, there's many that haven't, and they are feeling like they're, failures all along. Me doing my school on Zoom. Do you know how many parents were in tears because they thought that they were failing getting their kids online?
Mhm. Oh,
Or, not being able to apply to getting on a test when they should have, and I'm, like, going, "Please be you're doing fine. It's not easy. We'll just reschedule, don't worry. I don't know. This is not you're fine. How are you supposed to know when you weren't even on computers before this?" It's like, I'm sorry that you're put in this position, of being a teacher, having 5 kids on Zoom at the same time. How can even the internet be applied well? It's like, there's just these moments where we put these expectations and judgments in our life to put us on this road of we shoulda, coulda, wouldas. I mean, the shouldas. You know, the shouldas sure are shitty. You know?
you
It's
should
just
you've been shooting all over yourself again.
exactly. Why? Why put that extra stress on? Life is stressful enough. Doing what we're doing, life is stressful enough, and it's not worthy of doing anything that why? I just don't have the understanding why.
See, I think that brings in, when you the concept of, um, of not doing things wrong, but also using your intuition. Because if you use your intuition, chances are you're going to make a lot better decisions than if you don't use your intuition. And so you can avoid some stuff that way by paying attention to it.
Mhm.
Give people that are listening a tool or two on how to raise our intention and how to listen to it.
Your intuition is going to come to you through a feeling or a voice, a whisper in your ear, or you might get a snapshot, like a taking a picture in your mind, that's coming in your mind. Like you're thinking, what's for dinner? And all of a sudden you have a hamburger that pops in your head. Oh, well, maybe that's your body's intuition saying a hamburger sounds good. Or because in needing meat. Now check in. Do you want a hamburger or do you want something more like a steak, And then if you have that hamburger pop back in, maybe that's your body saying, "No, I need there's a different kind of fat content in hamburger than there is in steak." So there's that application, or you may hear that whisper of hamburger, And I'm going to tell you that the universe, if you hear it, many times it's more like a whisper than it is somebody yelling at you. So it's being available to listen. When you ask a question, be willing to listen, and the first thing that comes to you. That's that intuition. There's that, or that feeling of, oh, yeah, that feels really good. I should probably do some of that. Oh, but I'm feeling kind of busy right now. Oh, there's that intuition of how much should I do? There's that application of maybe I should say I can do a little bit of it, but not all of it. I can be co-partners with you, but I can't be a full do it by myself. It's that application of, it's even like with us working together. It's like there's been certain times where you say, oh, just go do it. And I'm like going, that doesn't feel right. And that's my inner intuition saying that maybe someday I can, but right now the application of what's working together is building us both up. It's given us both expressions and both of us insights on how to do different. And there's that part. So listening to our intuition is that feeling. It's that motherly intuition that when you wake up and go, oh, something just popped in my head and I need to take care of it now. It's that feeling. It's that that wait a minute. Wait a minute. Let me think about this differently. It's that what is that? It's that deeper concept. It's just a little bit deeper than just a thought. And so
And
when we can go ahead.
well, I was just going to say, address this if you please.
Mhm.
Raising my son has been lesson after lesson in failure as a parent. I'm realizing now that I'm not.
Yes, exactly. How can you be a failure when you're the human doing something that is a struggle for you and him? And that's the thing is that many times that we don't know that our children have a problem until we face it.
Sometimes we don't
Or
years later. My kid
exactly.
my kids had stuff going on that I had no idea about because kids have a way of just keeping their mouth closed for a period of time.
Exactly. And I know for a lot of the parents, they're choosing to homeschool their kids. Well, they didn't know that in school maybe they had troubles reading. Maybe the teacher said, "Hey, your kid has troubles reading," but really, did my kid have troubles reading? It's like the application of what we know now isn't always what we know when we're making the decision to do something. And many times when we're trying to help someone else do something and it's our timing, but it's not their timing, nor will it ever be their timing because they don't want to do it, that we feel like a failure because we're trying to apply what needs to be done to what is happening in the real world. And that's where sometimes there's a clash. I know for me that there's a lot of kids right now, and my kid was one of these. My youngest kid was one of these. Well, actually, both my kids were, but one knew how to manage it a little differently than the other. That my youngest, I had to keep saying to this child that I know that you won't need this math when you're growing up because of what you're going to choose to do in life. But I can tell you that this is going to help you practice for those things that you don't want to do in life. So I would have to change what the applicate lesson was. It wasn't about the math. It was about doing the application of the math.
Exactly.
And so practice doing something you don't want to do, because there's going to be lots of times where you may not want to clean up aisle 6, but you were told to clean up aisle 6. It's an application towards doing something that we do. But us as parents think of ourselves as failures because we're not doing it the way that other people are perceived to do it, or the teachers at school that went through schooling. How many years of schooling did they do, to apply it? And I know, like for me, that, like at school, us paraeducators, which we did not go to school. We have some schooling we had to do, and I have modules and stuff that I keep having to do, but I didn't go to college to be a teacher, to be able to talk with parents, to be able to manage a whole classroom. Wasn't taught a lot of those things. Well, we're being asked to do that now.
Exactly.
And it's a skill that if we don't know to do better, that's a liability. And, you know, and that's where, we just got to have that understanding that, like some of these parents that are wonderfully teaching their kids right now, you know, I know a lot of teachers, not all teachers, but a lot of teachers are willing to say, I can help you. I just want to know what the struggle is so I can help you streamline it.
And not to change the subject, but
I
what are
get
you
it.
doing Sunday?
What's that?
What are you doing Sunday? I'm asking you on a date. What are you doing Sunday?
What am I doing on Sunday?
Yeah.
What am I doing on Sunday? I'm
I
on
don't know.
Martha Norwalk's Animal World. Thank you very much. I'm on Martha Norwalk's Animal World, where I'm on her radio station the third Sunday of every month. Get
And
my
that's
time straight.
KKNW 1150 AM. You can go to marthanorwalk.com and you can listen to the listen live button, and you can listen to Natasha talk about spirits and animals and all sorts of fun stuff for 3 hours with Martha Norwalk this coming Sunday from
Yes,
9 till noon PST time, which is,
Pacific Standard Time.
I'm sorry, it's not either. It's PDT.
Yes,
Daylight time.
yeah, Pacific Daylight Time. So it's one of those things that as I'm doing this, I'm grateful to be able to. It's usually I start talking around the 10 o'clock time, the 10 to 12 time, just because the first hour is the headlines and what's going on, and getting into the show. And it's Martha's show. I'm just one of her guests, so it's a gift. I'm always grateful to do those little readings because they're just quick insights, for someone who can just. I've heard that I've helped them on these quick little moments, so it's a gift to be able to be there.
And it's fun for you to play. So
Oh, I love it. When I got told that I could be on the radio, it was a dream come true. Literally a dream come true. This is a dream come true. This application is, I'm just grateful to be able to be a voice and be out there to support.
and you weren't sure you'd like this application when I first started it. So there.
Well, what, this application of be on StreamYard?
Yes.
Well, it was because you tried to give it to me like minutes before I ran in the door, and I had enough change in my life.
Oh, gotcha. Gotcha.
My cup was full. I needed a moment to integrate.
Oh,
I
good. Well,
I love this, actually. I love this. It's just one of those things. But I see that it's time for cards.
it is time for cards. It is time, and it would be time to talk to my son who just called me, but unfortunately, Let's see if I can hook that up. Is now discovering the stuff in your device Bluetooth. Okay, and there and no, that's not there. While you're doing the cards, I'm going to do this. And let's see if that. No, that's not. No, sorry, Trav, that ain't going to work. Can't get you on the air. You don't want to get on the air anyway. So
No, he doesn't. I already snagged him once.
yeah, no, he doesn't want to get on the air with us. So, son, I'll call you back in about 15 minutes. Okay, bye. He's a silly man. 32-year-old man who is silly.
So what I'm doing right now is I'm shuffling. Oh, there was one card that almost popped out. I'm shuffling and asking, what can I pull that can help someone in their life right now to help them move forward through this next moment in life? I'm telling you, the solstice is coming up this weekend too. Okay, yes. I see you. This one almost fell out, so we're gonna let there. The solstice coming, or not, it's the solstice, it's the equinox. That as this spring equinox comes in, know that it's a doorway. So, and we just had a new moon, which is about new beginnings. So really think about, how are you talking to yourself? How is life showing you how to talk with yourself? Because I am hungry, or I am sick, or I'm not feeling well. The I am is it's the point. It's like putting a dart game and putting a point on the I am is what you're calling in. And so remember that as you're working in life and as you're walking in life, pull in what you want. Pull in the magic. Today is St. Patty's Day. It's about magic. It's about that glitter. It's about the yes, he is a fairy, he's a fae, and yes, they're mischievous. I still haven't found my debit card that disappeared, and I know I put it away right. I ordered a new one. that as we they like my cards. They stole my card and when I was in Hawaii. Even my friends even went and witnessed me putting it back right. But be with the magic. What is the magic that can be in your life? You never know. You may receive the magic in a form of it.
That's absolutely true. And it happens all the time.
Guess what a card I just pulled?
What is that? The goblin?
The goblin.
And what does that signify?
It says the wounded human ego.
There is some of that going on.
There is, and that's why I wanted to talk about, that's why I was told to talk about failure. Because it is about that application of what is it that we can really truly believe in ourselves. Magic is here. We're going to be human. It's called the learning process. And know that as we're walking in life and as we're managing life. Okay, so the first card, physical health, grounding, and foundation. So the earth fairy. So it's time to get grounded. It's time to get that knowing of who we are. It's time to be our beautiful selves. Because the wounded ego, it's time to have it go away. We have life, we have things happening to us. It doesn't mean that it's not part of our knowledge base. Our snubs, our stubbing of our toes, our oops, I could have done that better, are part of that lesson of how to do better. And so change the wounded ego to being someone like going, oops, could have done better. Because we're meant to be the butterfly who transforms from being the caterpillar to being grace, to being able to get the nectar of life from from the flowers so that we can be our healthier selves. So just know that as spring is coming, the spring equinox is coming, it's time to have us transform our self-talk to being more graceful for ourselves. Practice makes better. Oops, there's that sneaky shame button again, isn't there? How can I transform it into something more beautiful? Because I just got told the top card, because as we're getting out into the community and being ready to land on flowers again, to get our pollen, to go back to make sweet honey, know that our community, because bees can't be singular, they have to be in a community, that the bee of life will bring in, and we will find our nectar, we'll find our hive, our tribe, once we start getting out more. So be ready what we think we're going to receive. If we want to be with our like-minded people, start calling in your like-minded people. I want to be around people who give sunshine. I want a job who I feel happy going to. I'm tired of feeling not good about my job anymore. I want a job that fulfills me, gives me the money to pay my bills, but fulfills me also. So start really thinking that you're worthy of this, because B is about luck, and sweet victory. And it was the top card, so it's about where we're moving to.
Very, very nice. Although I do have to tell you, a wise man once said to me, you've heard the expression, the grass is greener on the other side of the fence?
Mm-hmm.
No, that's not true. The grass is greenest where you water it.
Yep.
And so if you take care of yourself and you water it and you do everything, you take good care of your soul, your body, and your mind, and your kids and everybody around you, then things will be well. Things will be. And by the way, did you go look in your bank account today?
I did not yet, because I have Wells Fargo, so I was kind of thinking.
They're going to steal it from you anyway. But no, I'm kidding. No, it's it's a beautiful day, because I was I'm working on my website, and I'm working on hosting it and doing all that. What's going to cost some money, and I don't know how much money and stuff. But suddenly there was a gift from Santa Biden, and there was money in my account that wasn't there yesterday. It's kind of cool. So I
know mine is going to go towards my business and that application too. So I'm grateful that even though I may look, I mean, a lot of my things came from thrift stores or gifts, so it's like, or like that picture was my mother's, it's like there's a lot of these applications that I can say thank you, because it's really been helping me make the next step to being that calling that I am called to be. So I am grateful. So as we leave, because it is at that hour now, and as we leave, I want you to know that I am so grateful for everyone who is here, because only you can make the steps and make the ripple effects that you do. And please just know that kindness to self, kindness to others, and especially when we change our perception just a little bit about those selves of I'm shameful, I'm unworthy, I'm a failure. If we can just change those perceptions, it's amazing where life will bring us. Oh, next week I will be in Ocean Shores.
So she'll be doing the show from the road. From the road, she'll be on Ocean Shores, and that'll be fun. It'll be in her hotel room or someplace there in the what hotel are you staying at?
I forgot the name. Huh?
The Shiloh?
No.
The casino?
No.
Oh, well. Oh, there are a bunch of them over there.
Yeah, there's.
In any event, you have a wonderful day. And by the way, sometimes you'll start saying a sentence, and I assume that you're going to finish it one way, and you finish it totally at somewhere else. It's like you said, only you can prevent forest fires.
No. Only you can be the one that you are to be.
That's right, because nobody else wants to fit into your pants. Everybody, have a great day, everybody, and take care of yourself. And we'll see you next time on My Independence Report and Life Clarifications with Natasha Venter. Go to her website, which again is
angelicclarifications.com.
very good. And spell it correctly, and you'll get there. Thank you very much. Have a great day, everybody.
Bye.
Hey, and thanks for listening to this episode all the way to the end. Hey, pretty cool. Hey, don't forget to follow us so you can receive regular updates and new posts. And remember, take care of each other because each other's all we've got. See you next time on My Independence Report.